Welcome back to Alpha Mods, and today we're doing the two front brakes. So basically mine just kind of got to a point where I needed to, even though the pad sensor wasn't going off, I was just ready to get them swapped over. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and it may look a little bit darker in the time, but basically it's not too complicated, and we're going to go through exactly how to do it without errors, because that's what ends up happening most of the time. People do it, it's not complicated, but they end up with an ABS error and they can't clear it by just disconnecting the battery. It doesn't work that way. You need multi-scan. So let's just skip that part of it and do it to where we don't end up with codes. There we go. Driver's assistance, brake service. Would you allow to retract park brakes? Which does the rear, but we're kind of doing the front as well. Okay, so to reset, the brake pedal must be activated. So you're gonna have all these things that come up. That's fine, not a big deal at all. And one of the most important things that we're doing here is disconnecting this battery while we're doing this brake job. Over here with my grandpa. So I'm getting things set up. And we got a couple of more things to do. So I've already went to the infotainment system. I've already disconnected the brake battery. I came to my grandpa's house because there's nothing really where at my place I don't have the space at my house. So you don't want to set off the front sensors here. You don't want to set off the rear parking sensors. So you want to make sure that you have space in between what you're doing, because if you don't, you're going to run into a little bit of issues where you can't retract the parking service brake. So next thing we're going to do is open up the flap here, find the brake reservoir, and we're ready to, in a little bit when we're ready, we're going to go ahead and open that up to retract the brakes. So once you forget the jack, you're going to want to find your jack point. Gonna come in here, you'll see it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and just position the jack over the jack point as such. Once I'm on it, you guys can see car is going to start going up. And I'm going to go ahead and break loose the nuts on these here. And we'll go ahead and get started on this brake job. Okay, so basically once you get everything back on, you run these pins through. The pins come in through this direction and they pop out over here. As you guys can see there, everything looks nice and good. This brake line, or this brake wear sensor, you want to make sure it's coming through this little part of the pad, and you're basically going to just choose a point on here, slide it onto this little bracket, and then you're going to find your brake wear sensor, plug it in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do this with one hand, probably not. But then again, make sure you torque down your T55s here and make sure everything's lined up in the pads. Basically doing your final check, and keep in mind we've got this cap Keep in mind that we've had this cap on. And I guess my grandpa put it on already. But anyways, all we're doing here is double checking and then reconnecting this sensor here, and then we'll put the wheels on. We'll go back into the cabin, pump the brakes before we reconnect the battery, and we'll go from there. I'm going to show you guys what to do if we do end up with code. So okay, so we're back in the cabin, and now I'm going to pump the brakes. And you can feel it, it's like just enough to where it grabs, and then we'll Okay, so pump the brakes. Now I'm reconnecting the power. And give me a second. Okay, so I basically had to come find my key fob. Let's see what we got. To exit service mode, vehicle must not be in motion. Close. Okay, I hear it doing its thing. So you have to toggle this up. I've been toggling it down this whole time. Once you toggle it up, then we're back here. Oh shit, I did it with no codes. Okay, so yeah, that's what I was doing wrong. You have to toggle this up when you're ready to go. And it looks like everything's good. Probably go for a drive around the block now. And we should be set, but we're out. And it kept going in this loop where it was saying vehicle can't be in motion, blah, blah, blah. And I kept toggling it the wrong direction. So once you figure that out, check that out. No codes and the brakes are done. Popo, we got it. Yeah, there's nothing. But here in a minute, I'm going to show you guys what to do if you do end up getting codes from not pumping the brakes preemptively. And just real quick before I show you guys what you need to do to clear the codes if you do end up with permanent ones, I just want to apologize for not recording the actual like wiggling off of the caliper and inserting the new pads. It's pretty straightforward process. There's a lot of videos that also show this, but I want to focus more on how to do this without getting permanent codes. And for some reason when I was trying to record that part, it did a time lapse, so it did not help me at all. So I don't have the video of the changing of the pads. But the basic idea is there, and hopefully that's enough. So let's get into clearing this stuff. Okay everybody, so now that I kind of went through showing you guys how I did my brake job without throwing any kind of permanent arrows that you can't remove, it tends to be a very, very common issue on this car. And I'm going to make another video that's going to be very specific towards how to solve those issues. But I also wanted to make a really quick end of statement here for this video so that if it does happen, watch the end of this video. If you have ABS and all kinds of other lights that are not coming back off, you need to be able to clear those things, and I'm going to show you exactly how. So here we have multi-scan ECU loaded into a laptop with the OBDX cable. You're going to need the gray cable. You can get these off Amazon, eBay, various other sites. And basically you connect that to the car. And when you do, we're going to go under ABS. And from ABS, we are going to Continental ABS. And I'm going to go ahead and hit simulate because I don't actually have any errors. It's going to ask you for the gray adapter. Yes. And at this point in time, you're plugged into the car. You have everything off except for the ignition. So engine off, ignition on. You're going to go into errors, which is going to say up 3 or F3 up there. So let's just say it has these two errors right here. If you're doing the brake job, it'll be more along the lines of error in line, and it'll tell you something like that, discrepancy in error. And basically you're going to come down to F10, clear errors, and it's going to say clearing stored fault codes, and you'll be back on the road again, just like that. Doesn't take very long, but you need multi-scan ECU, you do need the gray adapter, and this is if you do the brake job or you take it to a shop and they do the brake job, and let's just say they're unable to get you out of whatever codes are stuck on your car and things are feeling weird. I literally had a customer that I did a programming for that told me that they took it to the dealership locally, and the dealership told them they needed to replace a caliper. Now, all it took was for me to go into the ABS module and clear a little bit of codes, and he was back on the road and happy. So if this does happen to you, please go the multi-ECU scan route and try this first before you go to a dealer, especially if you're already doing your brake jobs yourself, because a dealer will kind of use that to their advantage to be like, oh, okay, well, they tried to save some money, let's go ahead and tack on an additional thing. I don't have anything against dealers, but I just know that this does happen, especially after my last conversation with somebody. So anyways, hopefully this video was helpful. Thank you guys for watching. We're gonna continue the maintenance series and we'll keep going in depth with things. We have a whole bunch of mods coming up soon that I have to finish, and Alpha Mods out.